Padaya Krishna Prashtavadaya Shrimate Bhakti Vikasa Swamiti Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtavadaya Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharya Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshitarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jnanananda Mayam Devam Nirvamspatikakritam Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana Hoy Vigna Vinashana Naya Shihai Nijavanshita Puranam. Okay, so we just finished Kirtan. Back to David here. And so Kirtan, or you say meditation, being the at forefront of the age now, you see everywhere, and mindfulness, right? It's like a big hot topic, mindfulness, how to control your mind, how to stabilize your mind. That is a very big topic, right? Most of us here care about that. I'm guessing you're here because you're a little conscious of these things. Maybe some people are not conscious. Maybe some people don't want to control their minds. Maybe some people just want to let their minds free. Let them just do what you like, do what you want, feel what you want, think what you want, right? Some people might want to live life like that, but we understand that the mind is taking us, and it's a river of, just going down the river of desire. It's not very beneficial for us. Just like you're all here with the idea of some level of control. You could be out drinking right now. I don't know what is going on in Atlanta. Sometimes you can look up Atlanta events and they'll have a roof party in the middle of a day. Or you can go into a nightclub and it feels like night and you can drink and get wasted. You could totally do that, right? You could totally do that. You could totally do anything that you wanted right now. You could go order a pizza, you could go hang out at the movies, you could do whatever you like. But why are you here? Why are we here? Anyone? Nobody knows why they're here. Nobody knows why they're here. Man, I don't know why I'm here. What am I doing up here?
It's like a group therapy.
Group therapy. Am I the therapist? I didn't know I was a therapist. Oh my God. Maybe I need a therapist. God. No. So yeah, we're here with the idea of benefit, right? Some help. That we're going to come and learn something. Therefore, we have the determination to... How long did people drive here? How long did it take to drive? 15 minutes? 10 minutes? 40? Who drove 40 minutes? You drove 40 minutes. Anyone else? Half an hour. Okay. 20 minutes. Okay. So you drove 40 minutes. It's pretty far. I mean, Atlanta, especially on a Sunday, no traffic, right? Oh, it says there is traffic. Okay, maybe. Generally on Sunday, people are too wasted to get up by this time even. And so today is a sleeping day. Today is where you let your mind free and just sleep. There's NFL going on. NFL. And what? Oh, some election or something, right? So the idea being that we develop a level of control when there is a goal in mind, when there's some purpose in mind. Now, yoga here is being discussed by Krishna. I mean, throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, that's what the whole discussion of Bhagavad Gita is. And what better way to discuss what is yoga than on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where there is mass slaughter about to happen, a place of great disturbance, great fight. And it's not just ordinary fight, it's a fratricidal war. So Krishna in the 6th chapter specifically starts to speak about this yoga of mind control. How to control one's mind, because Arjuna is saying, or Krishna tells Arjuna that one of the very famous verses of Bhagavad Gita, that the mind can be the best of one's friends or the worst of one's enemies. And the mind is the best of one's friend when it is controlled, and it is worst of one's enemies when it is uncontrolled, right? Does anybody have a fun time with the uncontrolled mind? No? How many people have an uncontrolled mind? Well, then why am I speaking up here? Well, here, Krishna is starting to teach us how to control the mind. The mind by nature, can I get a little more? Thank you. The mind becomes agitated when it has no purpose in life. Srila Prabhupada writes in one place that the reason the mind is under anxiety or doesn't have control is that one doesn't have an ultimate purpose in his mind. One has no goal or doesn't know what he's doing. What is the purpose of life? And in that way, because we don't really know what exactly we're doing, there's not much control. And it causes great havoc to our lives when that mind is not controlled. Then you engage in so many activities that are not good for you, right? It's just like just like a smoker. He knows that he shouldn't smoke. He knows it's written in the packet. It's written in the packet, but he cannot control his mind. That even sometimes he may know, okay, this thing is going to cause cancer. It's written right there on the label. But why does he continue to smoke? Is addicted. But what is the urge, the feeling, right? The feeling, the urge. The feeling carries us. Often our feelings carry us, and that gets us in trouble a lot, right? So the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing is the platform of the mind. And so one who hasn't conquered the mind, who hasn't actually learned how to control the mind, it causes havoc for one. Because although there's some understanding there's a problem, one has no control because the feeling and the thinking and the willing is too strong. Like Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, from contemplation arises attachment, and then from there it has lust, anger, and so much frustration is there. So the center of all of the senses is the mind. The senses give their input, and the mind is where it is all centralized. It is like the, we could say, control system almost. Just like here we see in the Bhagavad Gita with the horses, the senses are there, reins, and then intelligence is there. So the senses are stimulated and the mind is pulled in different ways. So just like, you may want to taste something, you hear something, right? Your senses get carried away. Just like if a clown walked up in here right now, maybe it doesn't have to be a clown, it can be anyone. Everybody's mind just wanders over there. You may hear something, a car going by, or a noise, or, whatever it may be. The mind becomes immediately distracted when it is stimulated, or it may be pulled in certain ways when it is stimulated. So we stimulate in different ways nowadays. You can stimulate in so many ways. So many ways. Stimulation, stimulation, stimulation. That's the whole push of society. The more you stimulate, the more pleasure you will derive. But what is happening, just like the horses on the battlefield, or here, just the horses here are compared to the senses. In the mind that reigns, all of our senses are directed in different directions. They're going in different directions. They're pulled. See if I can find it, if they have it in here. Okay. Nope. Okay. Huh? There's different pictures in here, so sometimes they don't put all of the pictures in some of them. Anyways, the point being made that the mind is the center of all of the senses. It's the central controlling thing that there's input and then you decide. The mind, the thinking, feeling, and willing, decides whether we should act upon that or not. There you go. Decides means it it helps us understand it. It has the ability to accept and reject something that you like and that you don't like. Okay, I really like to watch NFL. I really don't like to watch basketball. Okay, then forget it. Reject it, accept it. So the mind functions on the level of accepting and rejecting. Just like, you're driving from 40 minutes away. It's like, that's too far. Okay, forget it. For most people, it's like, well, Sylvan Hills, well, it's too far. Forget it. It's too tough to get to. But your phone and your pizza from the close by store is very easy to get to. So then, yes, okay, accepting and rejecting. Okay, that is very pleasurable to me. So then, let's just accept it. Okay, the senses are satisfied. Try to satisfy the senses, and the mind tries to satisfy itself in like this by accepting and rejecting. That is the function of the mind. And so, specifically speaking, we're here speaking on goal and understanding the mind, the thinking, feeling, willing. It is all this centered around this what's called Shreyas and Preyas. Shreyas means long term, and Preyas means short term. So the mind, just like, who's going to university here? How many people are going to university? Yes, a few of you guys. Okay, so you're always thinking about the long-term benefit, right? If you entered university with the idea that it's going to be all fun and games every day, every moment, would you be there? No. Anybody who has attended university? Right? It's a little hellish sometimes, a lot of the time maybe. So many exams, so many tests, so many different things. But why do we do it? Yeah, money. Yeah, we have a goal. We have a goal, right? Money, maybe some career. It may be some different aspects of life people have. But mostly there's a goal in mind that at the end of the 3-4 years, I'll get a paper that certifies me to go and work this particular job or this and that. Therefore, you continue to work. You have a long-term goal in mind. You're seeing that, therefore your mind is controlled, right? Therefore, you don't just, otherwise, if you didn't have a goal in mind and you're just at university just to be there, as soon as the exam comes around, we'll drop out, right? Who's done that? Who's dropped out? Yeah, I dropped out, kind of. I finished and then I just forget it. So it's not really drop out, but didn't fulfill the goal that I had in mind. So you drop out because you don't really see the point of it, because it no longer gives you satisfaction. It doesn't give you satisfaction anymore. It doesn't give you the kick that you wanted out. Generally, maybe in America, you enter university with the idea that it's going to be a big party. Is that right? That's what I saw in movies when I was in Australia. That is just you go and you just go to frat houses. No, not everybody. That's the idea. When you go to Georgia Tech on a Wednesday morning, you can see some guys laid out on a couch, and the sun is already shining on them. They're passed out still. And Georgia, I guess, George of here, University of Georgia, UGA, Kennesaw State doesn't have that. I don't think Georgia State has that either. I don't know about the schools that you go to, Morehouse and all that. Maybe it has that. So long-term benefit. When we have a proper goal in mind, then it seems that even though sometimes there is a titillation of the senses, even though there's certain things that attract us, just like we may be very attracted to going out late at night and having a party and going and smoking and drinking and having so much sex and such and such. But if you got an exam tomorrow morning, you're going to do it? You're going to do it. Okay, all right. But does it help you? No. That means there is no control. There's no control. Because that which doesn't benefit us, actually, naturally it should be renounced, or detachment should come. Just like, if you're going to do an exam tomorrow, you probably shouldn't stay up late. But you do because you didn't study. So the point being here is that the mind becomes controlled when there is an ultimate goal in mind. When there is this what is called shreyas, long-term goal. It no longer becomes agitated. You can drive 40 minutes without agitation. Why? Get here safely, but knowing that when you get there, you're going to get something valuable. If you were to drive 40 minutes and you got there and we were closed, now there's agitation in the mind because you didn't get what you wanted, right? Now you're agitated. Now the mind is agitated. Now you want something. Now the mind's okay, where else am I going to get satisfaction? Where is satisfaction? Where is satisfaction? Where is satisfaction? That is always the platform of the mind. What is beneficial to me? So one has to learn how to actually develop this understanding, this prayers, long-term benefit in order to come to the level of control. This is where the mind and the intelligence interfere. The intelligence has the ability to recognize what is important for my life. The mind just simply is able to process it processes this, what the senses may be attracted to, or the thinking, feeling, and willing comes up with these thoughts. But ultimately, the intelligence, when one has intelligence, he allows himself to either interact on that thought or the feeling, or has the ability to detach himself from it. Now, this depends on the shreyas and the prayers, whether one has a proper goal in mind. So just like you have enough intelligence not to go and drink before your exam, right? We have that intelligence not to go and get high before an exam. So even though the feeling may come, you may wait after the exam, right? Wait till you're done, right? Then if you fail, then it all disappears, right? So one must learn to develop a determination, to develop this shreyas, long-term understanding. What is the ultimate goal in my mind? And then in that proper state of consciousness, then he's able to start to control his mind. He knows what to do and what not to do, as long as he's not carried away by his senses. So therefore, sense control is a big part of spiritual life, is to not just go and indulge the senses in different activities that keep us gripped, just like you go to the cinemas. It's like you're hooked onto the big cinema, or you don't even have to go there. You go on TikTok, completely sensory deprivation, just deprived of all of the juice you have left in your body of the senses, right? Like when you watch TikTok for 3-4 hours. Anybody do that? Just get stuck? No, it used to be Facebook, not TikTok. You just get stuck for hours, and your senses just become too much. The mind, too much. That it's at its cessation point. Same with smoking, same with drinking, same with sex. So the person on the path of yoga, he learns to control his senses because he understands by that control that mind also becomes control. And when the mind is controlled, then we can move in the direction that is beneficial for us. Then we're not carried away. Then the intelligence can act accordingly to where we actually want to go. So there has to be a sense of understanding this goal. What is this goal? What is the purpose of my life? What are we doing? Because we see that people may have a long-term goal. Some people may be doing this, maybe doing that, maybe want to become a doctor, maybe want to become a musician, maybe want to become an entrepreneur, whatever it is, doctor, whatever it is. Although people have these goals in mind, and you can see when you go to a university, especially some of the higher class universities like Emory or Georgia Tech, and you see these people just focused. You notice they're focused. You're like, whoa, this person's very controlled, very intelligent, you could say. But why are they not happy? Why are they dissatisfied? Why people in this world, although they get everything that we ever wanted, why their minds always chasing? Why is it always running after the next thing, the next shoes, this and that? Although you may attain your ability, become a great musician, still not satisfied, still depend on the drugs, still depend on the alcohol, still depend on this to keep you going almost. But you attained your goal. So why is it not satisfying? Because that goal that we have considered has been in relationship with how I can satisfy myself. Putting myself, me, myself, and I am the biggest thing in this universe, right? That is how, it's almost like sometimes, used to, whatever before Krishna consciousness used to go in deep thought, it's like, the only thing that exists for me is myself, really. Like you think about it, and others are living lives, too, just like you. You're born and you go through so much, and you grow up and go to school and this, and then you look at someone else, and you don't really think about it, that the other person also has a whole life like that. It's kind of like, anyways, it's a lot too. Sometimes before understanding all this philosophy, it's like, whoa, it's like crazy that you never really think about so many other things. But how insignificant we are in this universe. But we consider us to be the most important thing, our goals, our purpose, this and that. Why? Why do we consider it like this?
Too many desires.
Too many desires. Yes, these material goals. Why do we think we're important? No, because we are important. We are important, actually.
Ego plays a lot of part.
False ego plays a big part, yes. False ego, not ego. Ego is there. But we are thinking ourselves very important on the material platform. Oh yes, I must become some great materialist. Yes, I must become the greatest. People must know my name. People must know who I am. But actually on the material platform, all this is taken away by time. It has no real existence to it in that sense, because it's temporary. It's false. So whatever goal and achievement we may get within this life, on this platform of running on the platform of the mind, I want this, I want that. Whatever goal you may fix yourself in, ultimately will not satisfy us, because it's on the level of false existence, temporary existence of this body. It's not satisfying. It doesn't satisfy one at all. Therefore, the mind of the people of this world, especially now, is always agitated. Always agitated. That is one of the symptoms of Kali Yuga. Above all, always disturbed. Why? Because although you have everything to so-called satisfy you, we have everything right here. I can get anything that I want. Anything. Seriously, literally. Right now. Although you have all of this ability to go and indulge your senses, to enjoy to your best extent, greatest extent, you're still not satisfied. The mind is still agitated. The mind is uncontrolled. But when one is satisfied, the mind is controlled. When one understands, the mind should be controlled. Sometimes we engage in certain activities thinking, oh well, this is the last one, right? Like the people who are addicted, right? One too many, 1,000 never enough, right? One more hit, one more smoke. But it's not satisfying. Material nature, the way of material life is not satisfying. So why is it that we still try to endeavor in the platform of material life? Although we have seen so many others become doctors, so many others become engineers, so many others become singers, and so many others become great people of this world, why do we think that we're going to be different? That we will derive great satisfaction? We will be completely happy? Why is it that?
There are difference in the goals what you have in terms of whether that goal is specifically spiritual or it's a professional or it's a social.
Yeah.
You will not be satisfied when you are not having that spirit, because the degree of desires will come again and again, one after another.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are going in the direction, it is endless.
Yes.
But when you go to the then you might be achieving those satisfaction which is going to sustain, and you can, again, you will have a more desire towards achieving more in the spiritual sense, but not in the materialistic world.
Good. Good answer. Yes. So the nature of material desire or material satisfaction, it is never satisfying. It burns like fire. Oh, Arjun. We were discussing desire last week. And so the nature of material desire is that it is never satisfying. It burns like fire. It covers one's own, and it covers the soul. It puts us into more ignorance. It doesn't give us satisfaction. But when one starts to understand this point of one's eternal existence, actually, yes, I am important. Because I'm an eternal living being. I am not this body. I am the spirit soul. And that's what's important. We are important, but we're on the level of considering oneself important, it's on the level of false ego with identification with this body. But when one changes that disposition or that understanding that, well, I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, he starts to inquire about this, then the goal becomes different, actually. The goal is a real goal. It's not a temporary goal. It is an eternal goal. Srila Prabhupada specifically says that in that one's mind is uncontrolled because he does not understand what is the eternal goal of life. The eternal goal, what is that eternal goal? And that's what the human form of life is meant for. Actually, that's what the senses and the mind and the intelligence are meant for. They're instruments by which one starts to elevate one's consciousness to the platform of self-realization, to understanding that is the goal. Not letting the mind carry one from this material goal of life, that material goal of life, this material goal of life. All these things will not satisfy us. Now, we may perform that work, but we understand that is not the ultimate goal, that this work is required. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that work is required, not that you stop performing work. Activity is there, but that activity is done with a completely different goal. What is that different goal? Instead of trying to satisfy oneself, one tries to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One starts to recognize one's existence in relationship with God. That there is me, but I am not the center of everything. Why am I important? Because I have a relationship with God. Because Krishna, God, is the most important. Therefore, that my existence is important in knowing how to love God, how to serve God. So one has to become conscious. One has to raise one's consciousness from this platform of just animalistic consciousness, of just enjoying life, enjoying just the senses. And stop making that goal and start to rise to this platform of yoga. Yoga means connection. Connection with God. One has to raise oneself. One has to raise one's consciousness. So, this consciousness is very important. What is consciousness? Consciousness is that which is the awareness that is there. That is the platform on which the mind functions. Here I had an exact definition of consciousness, so that, okay, maybe I lost it here. But it is specifically is that awareness of what is the purpose of life. And that higher awareness, right now we're aware just of this body. And the mind functions on the level of just awareness of this body. What is beneficial to my body? To my family according to this body, to my community according to this body, to the world according to this body. But the spiritual consciousness means recognizing I am not this body. I am spirit soul. And so the mind starts to now function on the level of spiritual consciousness. It is now looking at what is satisfying on the platform of spiritual life, not on the platform of material life. So what was so much cause of problems in our life before, the mind being attached to different material things, on the level of bodily conception of life, on the platform of bodily conception of life, now becomes a great friend to one when it is situated on the spiritual consciousness of life, which means Krishna consciousness of life. Being conscious not just of who the personality is, who the creator is, who is the ultimate, the super self, who is one's ultimate interest. Then the mind starts to become one's great friend. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the mind can be the best friend or the worst enemy of the living entity. When the mind is controlled, this real control means to constantly realize, understand this fact in our life, that we are spirit, soul, and a servant of God. To constantly remind ourselves of that, or be conscious of that. And the mind starts to accept and reject things on that level. It rejects those things which are beneficial for our spiritual life and rejects those things which are not beneficial for our spiritual life. Then it becomes very easy to control the mind. Actually, Krishna gives the process of controlling the mind to Arjuna. He says, you can go to the forest and practice detachment. But oh Arjuna, the mind is harder to control than the wind. Is it easy to control the wind? No, right? Impractical, you could say. And Arjuna tells him that, Krishna, this is impractical. What you're saying is completely impractical. I can't do this. I'm a warrior. I'm not some yogi. Krishna is making that point to him because Arjuna wants to leave everything and go and become a yogi. But Krishna tells him actually at the end of that 6th chapter, he says, yes, you can do all of this practice of detachment and all of this by the process of Ashtanga yoga, by performing some bodily yoga, by regulating the airs, by focusing on the eyes and the nose and such. But actually, you can do all this, or it's simple. You just think of me. You just meditate upon me. Why? Because everything that we've talked about here. That instead of, it is a spiritual process. It is the spiritual process, above all things, is that we are simply lacking our remembrance of who God is and what our relationship with Him is, what our relationship with Krishna is. And when that is lacking, the mind is never satisfied. When that consciousness is not on the level of Krishna consciousness, is on the level of bodily consciousness, then we'll never be satisfied no matter what you gain in this world. And you will always be satisfied if you're Krishna conscious, no matter what, if you don't have anything at all. Or you have everything. Just because you're spiritually conscious doesn't mean you have to have nothing. You may have so many things. Just like in this building, you see iPhones, iPads, and you walk into some of our studios, and it's like, well, what are these guys meant to be renounced? But they have so many things that doesn't look like renunciation. But Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe, this is not in relation to what is pleasing to us. It is what is pleasing to Krishna. Therefore, the mind becomes controlled. What is pleasing to God, therefore it becomes controlled. By natural, it is a natural state of mind. It is the natural state of mind for the living entity to be Krishna conscious. Right now is the artificial state of mind right now. This conscious of this body. It's an artificial position. Therefore, we're always trying to adjust. Oh, maybe like this, maybe like that, maybe like this. But when one is situated in his natural way of life, of Krishna consciousness, then there is no need for adjust. There's no need for new Yeezys. There's no need for new car. There's no need for this. He may need it in order to serve Krishna, just like sometimes you walk out there, you'll see big trucks and vans, but it's not for us. It's for the service of Krishna. It's done for the service of Krishna exclusively. Then one's mind is not agitated by pain and pleasures. One is simply satisfied. He's simply satisfied. Because he's in his natural constitutional position. He doesn't need to endeavor separately. All of the satisfaction that you desire automatically comes. And even when the senses sometimes, They become agitated and they may become attracted, even for a yogi or for a practitioner of Krishna consciousness. He becomes, the Bhagavad Gita gives the analogy of an ocean that has so many rivers going into it, so many rivers of desire. But the yogi, the ocean, although so many rivers are coming into this ocean, it never overflows. Right? So the person who is fixed in spiritual life, who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, although so many desires are there in life, and so many desires are pulling us in so many directions, his mind is completely satisfied. Why? Because he's absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He's very deep in his Krishna consciousness. It's like even the ocean, on the surface level, there's always waves and so many turbulence. But if you go deep into the ocean, it's very still. So Krishna consciousness helps us go very deep, in which our lives become very stable. As long as we're fixed in that. As soon as you're unfixed in that, even within the practice of Krishna consciousness, you can become very agitated. But simply one has to become conscious, one has to become aware of his spiritual nature, one has to become realized in it. One thing is just to know the knowledge. So real mind control means to come to this platform of yoga, to come to this platform of complete understanding of one's relationship with Krishna. And in that position, it is very natural, it is very easy, it is not strenuous activity. One doesn't have to sit there for hours, just controlling his breath. One simply remembers Krishna. And that's why the activities of the Krishna consciousness movement are centered around that. Because, like we said, the mind is the center of all activities. We were stating that at the beginning. So because the activities are Krishna conscious, naturally the mind is Krishna conscious. The intelligence acts on the level of Krishna conscious. There's real control. So then life is satisfying. There's no more chase, there's passion. Chasing. What will satisfy me? Maybe one day I'll become satisfied. Everything is around the corner. Happiness is right around the corner. And you turn the corner and it's not there anymore. Then it's around the next corner. And then the next corner. But Krishna consciousness means that there's satisfaction at every moment. It is not, the goal and the process are absolute. It's not that we perform, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm chanting, and then I'll get satisfaction later. No, if one is seriously conscious and serious in his practice, he can derive satisfaction at every moment of his life. He derives satisfaction every moment of his life. Why? Because it's natural. It's a natural way of life. Just like, right now in modern society, we live a very unnatural way of life. You can see how unhappy people are. Is the depression, anxiety the worst that it's ever been? And we have so many gadgets, so many things to satisfy our senses. Isn't that the point? The more you satisfy your senses, the happier you become. But then you look at people living a natural life, going to sleep on time, waking up on time, eating food that they produce. Natural way of life. And they are more satisfied in life. They are naturally more satisfied. They did some studies some years ago. Who are the happiest people on earth? And it was some, people in some village, some remote place. Natural way of life. And still, that is some materialistic, understanding. But here we're making the point that if you live a spiritual way of life, Krishna conscious way of life, then there is natural satisfaction. There is natural satisfaction. And it's not that difficult. Like that determination has to be there, just like, because we understand, because that comes with the understanding that there's an ultimate goal of life here. So there has to be determination to gain that goal. But when one gets on that platform, when one is able to establish himself in that determination to become realized in this Krishna consciousness, then you'll see a natural way of life. There's always a fight, of course, between the senses pulling. But the real yogi who becomes fixed on this path of Krishna consciousness, he's not agitated by anything. Whatever material circumstance, whether you may be rich, you may be poor. I'm not saying you have to be poor, you may be rich. But you may learn how to utilize your activities in such a way that is pleasing to Krishna. And in that way, you'll actually become satisfied. The mind will actually become controlled. there'll actually be proper satisfaction. So therefore we're chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is naturally satisfying. It is not a, Srila Prabhupada says, artificial imposition upon the mind. It is the natural state of the living entity. This devotion service, this process, is a natural state of the living entity. So, by performing it, you'll see you'll become enlivened, enlightened. It is guaranteed because it is a process, it is a scientific process. It is not on the level of just faith. You have to have faith in everything you do in life. But here we're discussing real knowledge of the soul. It is not a sectarian knowledge. This is not Christian, this is not Hindu, this is not Muslim, this is not this or that, this is not for the blacks only, like the Israelites when you go out there. Only if you're black and I don't even know what their philosophy is, then you can get heaven. Foolish philosophy. Stupid. It is not conditional to this body. This is what is called Sanatan Dharma, the eternal nature of the soul, eternal position of the soul. So Krishna is discussing that yoga, that knowledge, by which one can completely control the mind. And it's very simple. Simply by meditating it upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it becomes completely controlled. You can have an experience of that. By chanting Hare Krishna, by reading these books, by centering your activities around Krishna. The mind, absorbing the mind in Krishna, and in thinking of Krishna, in serving Krishna. Not serving something else. People talk about service, well, yeah, in service I serve my dog, I serve my country, I serve my family, community. No, these are all watering the branches and the leaves of the tree. Simply we serve Krishna, then it satisfies everything. It satisfies everyone. It satisfies the self. It's the only thing that is lacking in this world is the ability to absorb one's mind in Krishna, to be Krishna conscious. There is no other problem in this world than that. If you ever have a problem in life, you can think about this. Very easy. How am I not conscious of Krishna? You do that, and you'll solve all of the problems you have in your life. All of them. Am I just saying that? No, I have experience of that. We have experience of that. So this is a very great science of mind control, of how to actually bring the mind under control without it being a strenuous thing. It's actually very natural. So by performing this process of Krishna consciousness, it's natural, it's easy, it's chanting, dancing, feasting. Yesterday, for those who are here, we had a huge feast, right? Self-control, right? About 30, 40 items of sweets and different things. 40? 40. Ever been to a place where they have a feast maybe 3 times a week, right? And it's like every feast is like, normal lunches are like 6, 7 courses, and then feasts are like 16, 17. Self-control, right? Self-controlled yogis. Yes, because that food that we partake in is we only take that because it's offered to Krishna. That is self-control. You can offer us anything else. You can go purchase food for $3,000, whatever. You go to these fancy restaurants in New York on high-top rise buildings and you can get some crazy stuff that's like antique or whatever. But a devotee of the Lord will never even touch that, will never even be attracted towards that. Why? Because it's got nothing to do with Krishna. It hasn't been offered to Krishna. It hasn't been cooked with love for Krishna. So it has self-control. He'll never touch that. You can present to him anything, just like when we go, I've mentioned this a few times. When we go to these big festivals, these music festivals, people will present us with, some women will present us with sex. They know we're monks. Yep. Who said that? Yeah, there's plenty of times. And then there will also be guys who are drug dealers, present us with all the drugs for free. For free, nothing, no cost, no charge. You can have whatever you like. But we will not take it. Maybe standard, most of the guys that live at our place are 20 years old, in their 20s. Standard 20-year-old, if you are offered sex by a very beautiful girl, No other thought, okay, let's do it, right? Because that's what it's the ultimate pleasure of life. But why is it that the thought doesn't even come? No way. It's not even a thought. It's like, no, it's not even a consideration. They ask, you just smile and say, I'm good, thank you. Do you want the book or not? Do you want the book or not? So that's self-control. Because that self-control is in relationship with Krishna. And then when we offer food to Giriraj, yesterday, Giriraj, who is Krishna, we offer a mountain of food. Then we'll eat all of that, no problem. Even me, someone like skinny like this, we'll eat a whole mountain. Why? Because it's in relationship with Krishna. Even then, within that, there's control also. Not that we're all out. Yesterday was all out day, but so this is real self-control, to be centered around Krishna. So by coming to this platform, one learns complete self-control, and one will be happy. That's ultimately what you want, right? That's the objective of everything that you do in your life, is to become happy. And we've been lied to and cheated by all of society at every moment in your life, basically. Because nobody's told you you're not this body. Who's told you? Everybody tells you, yes, you're this body, right? Yes, you are that body. Change your hair in this way, put a tattoo in this way, dress in this way, reveal this part in this way, wear shoes in this way, roll your pants up. You do that in America? You roll your pants up? Yeah? You got to show your ankles, you wear the no ankle socks. So do all of these things. You are the body, decorate the body. Yes, then your mind will be satisfied. Nobody's told us that. It's cheating at every moment. It's actually cheating to not tell us what our real position is. Therefore, you're never satisfied, always running. But Krishna consciousness, it teaches us that that's the very basic of our existence, that we're beyond this body. So natural satisfaction will be there, and that's what we're after. Then here's knowledge and promise, proper knowledge and proper promise in which you can actually become happy. So why not engage in it? Why not engage in it? Because the mind is pulled by so many things in this world. But then one has to use his intelligence. One has to not be an animal. One has to be an intelligent human being to recognize what is important in my life. What is important? And in that way, recondition the mind from this materialistic, functioning on this materialistic platform to a spiritual platform. So it begins with the process of changing our activities. It begins with chanting, by hearing the philosophy, by hearing the mantra, by engaging our senses in taking the food that you're eating downstairs, by using your legs and your hands to clean the pots and the floors and all of these things, using the senses that we're given to recondition this mind. And you'll see how satisfying it is. Who likes cleaning bathrooms? No, Mataji does, do. She cleans for Krishna, so. Who likes just sweeping the floor? If you sweep the floor and clean bathrooms in this material world, what are you? No one big. It's true. But when one is Krishna conscious, and people are not satisfied by doing that, who grows up saying, yes, I want to be a bathroom cleaner for the rest of my life? Or a sweeper. Would you be happy if your son became a bathroom cleaner and a sweeper for the rest of his life? Probably not, right? Probably not. My dad is not happy that I'm cleaning bathrooms and sweeping the floor. But I'm happy. Right? Others around me are happy. Why? Because it's centered around Krishna. The mind becomes satisfied. We are satisfied. So this is the point, that Krishna consciousness is naturally satisfying. Prabhupada said like that. Material life, spiritual life is difficult in that sense. There is a lot of things to control. But material life is impossible. So we should endeavor for that which is sustainable. Krishna consciousness is that which sustains our life. Everything, your intelligence, your mind, your body, everything. So, endeavoring on this platform by beginning the process of chanting, hearing, serving Krishna, buying flowers for Krishna. You may like to buy things, buy it for Krishna, buy flowers for Krishna. You can bring, they make these really nice garlands out of them, look. And they put it on Srila Prabhupada. on deities, they were there yesterday, offered them to Krishna. So you can do this, you can center your life around Krishna, then you will be completely happy. So, is there any questions or comments or anything anybody would like to ask?
I think your lecture was very, very appropriate to the audience, the way I see it.
Thank you. Last week I was disappointing, so I'm sorry.
No, you did a very good job, especially, try to the younger generation, and you are also, some incidents I might have all gone through this in my practice.
Yeah, I'm getting old, so
Yeah. And
no,
also,
not yet, I hope.
all they need to understand is that you practice again and again.
Yeah,
And there's nothing that you automatically, even if I'm Brahmin, I was born in it, but even then it's hard for me to concentrate.
yeah.
It's very, very, very hard. Mind is just going everywhere.
I'm a Shudra.
We all are Brahmin. Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're born in it, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's need and everything.
Exactly, yeah.
Again, just like I said, I couldn't be, I get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. The 3-4 hours spent on the YouTube and listening to all the religious things and all, but that doesn't mean I am really a religious lady. But I think mine does wander more now since I got retirement. After retiring, and because I have so much time now to deal
You
with,
don't know what to do with it, right?
Right, it's very confusing, and then more in 70s when you're in 75 plus, then you have kind of, your mind wanders more, you become like a little child, and like I said initially, I think this is a group psychotherapy in here, and I was a psych nurse too, so, and like I told you before, I was the first open heart surgery cardiovascular nurse in Emory Midtown. And in 74, they started doing that. I came that time from England. And all I want to tell the younger generations, it's very easy to get attracted to all those imitations you have, especially these days, because I have my children. One is 47, one is 39. It's not easy job to raise children also, and I think you understand that. And parents go through a lot more with the kids these days. Even if they're grown up, they're still confused, or they're really lost in their life. And it's not easy job. Otherwise, I won't be here. To me, this is helping me more.
Yeah.
I have gone through all the temples. When there was no temple in here, I'm the lady, they came, we start singing bhajans and all. We had our own group. We used to do the prayer meeting in our own groups. Otherwise, our kids were going to go in the churches. They just, they were not going to be Hindus anymore. So we try to focus on those things, that we try to instill our own little bit knowledge that we had, and make them play some drama into, those characters,
Yeah.
Lord Krishna's, and, all those, so they could learn something. But you kids are very lucky that you are introduced in here. You have temples to go to. You have some guidance, but you still have to find yourself what's the best for you. Because every instructor, every guru will not be the same, and they might not be perfect, but you still have to find your own way.
Thank you.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's important. Modern society
All
makes
right.
distractions, and so many things are going on. I have a question for everybody. How many hours do you spend on your phone? Oh, okay. That's a good question. A day. We'll pull up. We'll screen everybody's phone onto the AirPlay over here. 6 hours. In one call, one phone call. You see, that's a phone call. We're talking about a whole different generation over here. This is like just scrolling. How many hours? Let's see. Just on your phone, doing useless stuff. 2 hours a day. Okay. Anybody else? Like an hour? Anyone else? Okay, so I'm sure people spend a good amount of time. I think average people, it's like average of People now averages 11 million minutes of their life people spend, which is about 20 years, just on scrolling your phone. Is it satisfying? At the end of it, do you feel happy? Depends, right? Maybe the last video gets you like, all right, that one was good. But if you just spend 2 hours, I think everyone, hour to 2 hours, if you just replace that whole hour, 2 hours, just meditating, do your chant, control the mind. Because it's never, yeah, please come in. Yeah. Control the mind. Make it a point to control. Don't let it be out of control. Stop it from this.
I can tell from my own experience, I went for those 10 days no talk sessions,
Okay.
That's the only way I could control this mind, but it's gone again.
Yeah.
So
You can talk about Krishna.
well, I know, but that was Lord Buddha's teaching, there's Hinduism and all, but still, away from home, no phone, no TV,